playoffs are here. This week is all playing games. If your team is between 7 and 10, you're in the play-in. If
Yeah.
you're above or under, you're not. You know, hopefully you are in there, or you don't have to play because you've done well enough. But these playing games be rough. You just never know. Somebody can have one of them days, and you cannot have one of your days, and you can be at home even as a seventh seed. So I'm gonna ask you guys this before we talk about the playoffs. Who do you see making that seventh and eighth slot in the East and the West? We're gonna start with you, Walt.
Well, I mean, I think they already got them set in stone, if I'm not mistaken. If with the game one being Atlanta and Miami, and then I think it's Minnesota and the Lakers. So pretty much, I guess if you ask me who I'm taking game one between Atlanta and Miami, it's gonna be a tough game only because I'm not really sure if there are any important injuries that I know of yet. But I do think that both teams are healthy, if I'm not mistaken. So just going based off of what I've been seeing these last couple of weeks, I do feel like with just how the momentum is going, I feel like Miami can take this game, and also because they have, I won't say Atlanta doesn't have experience, but I feel like Miami has a little bit more of experience, and I feel like they have a little bit more to play for. Not saying that Atlanta doesn't, but I just feel like they still have a few missing pieces to, not really get the job done. Possibly now they could prove me wrong. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like Miami, especially with the Udonis has some stuff going on. Him like retiring his last game. I don't know if y'all seen that. He was going kind of crazy a little bit that last game. I think he's like the oldest person to score like over 24 or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, over 20 points or something like that. So I just feel like they're going to kind of ride that, little wave a little bit, at least to get to the actual playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm taking Miami that first game, and y'all ain't even got to ask me who I'm taking that second game. So,
Oh yeah, Minnesota for sure.
speaking, no, I do want to speak on after you go about that stupidity of Minnesota, though. Like, yeah, that's just crazy.
Yeah. All right, John.
What you're saying, Minnesota by lands like by 30 or by 20?
Positively not.
I'm gonna agree with Walt, not for the same reasons, but kind of. Only because it's a one-game playoff. Atlanta is that team who can catch you off guard, man. They really can. John Collins can have himself a game. Capella can just grab every board he sees, and then Trey just starts to catch his fire. But in a one-game playoff, I just got to go with Jimmy Butler. This guy's been to the Eastern Conference Finals twice in the last 4 years.
Yes, sir.
Now Atlanta did make the Eastern Conference Finals just a couple years ago, I believe. Played Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference Finals, so they have been a little. These guys have been there before, But in a one-game playoff, I just like Miami. I like Jimmy Butler to get it done, do all the right things. So but would I be surprised if Atlanta pulled it off? No, not at all. That would push Atlanta to the 9-10 game to see who plays for 8th. Man, I don't know. I like the Bulls on paper, but I like Van Vliet to come through and do all the little things that Chicago doesn't have that point guard. And I like Van Vliet he does all them little things that, he can run a team. So I like Raptors, and that takes it to Raptors versus Atlanta. I gotta go. I'm gonna give it to Atlanta. I'm gonna give Atlanta just because it's gonna be tough for Atlanta to lose 2. So I'm gonna go Atlanta. So I'm gonna say Atlanta and Miami hang on to those final 2 spots. On the other side, yeah, Lakers are gonna take out Minnesota. Pelicans with no Zion, but still like it's a 2-headed monster. And you got the players stepping up too. Herbert Jones been playing good lately. I just think they got a little too much for OKC to beat with one player currently. So I'm gonna go at Pelicans win. And then I'm going to say Pelicans beat Minnesota because I just don't think Minnesota gets it together. Not very often you have a guy punch a teammate and the team rallies around the team and just comes together next day. So
I'm going to say Pelicans Lakers. Playoffs. Let's be honest.
I'm going to say Pelicans and Lakers take the 7 and 8, and Miami, and I'm going to say Atlanta hangs on to that 8th seed.
All right. I'm gonna agree. I got I would say Miami, but hey, Atlanta looked good these last two games. I think they played the Bulls and Boston. They've looked very well. Now can you do that again in Miami? That is going to remain to be seen. As far as that Minnesota and the Lakers, with Rudy being out, I think that's going to be big because now you don't have nobody in that middle, to guard the rim pretty much. I think that I can see the Lakers pulling away with that one late. It'd be close, and then they just hit that second gear, like LeBron and AD has done before. With that Toronto and that Bulls game on the 12th, it's really what Bulls team do you get? Do you get the Bulls team that played Minnesota, that played Memphis a couple weeks ago, and was down 23 and ended up winning the game by 20, or do you get the Bulls team that played Atlanta? I want to say Thursday or Friday of last week, and you can't make shots. They get into the rim with ease. And same thing with Toronto. What Toronto Raptors team are you getting? Can they put it together for just really just one or two games to just win? And I think with Oklahoma City and the Pelicans, I think OKC is going to make it back to the playoffs. I think with the kind of season Shea has been having, and then you got Giddy and Dort.
They got some young guys over there.
Yeah, and and think about it. They have given the top tier teams problems all season. We all went to that Bulls game when they played the Bulls, and Shea couldn't miss, and Giddy couldn't miss, and so it's really gonna depend on what team, what OKC Thunder team comes to play. I think for New Orleans, though, the good thing is they do have that playoff pedigree. Being in the playoffs last year, CJ with his playoff experience being from Portland. But I think I can see OKC sneaking past that one. And I can see them also beating a Minnesota team for a chance at that eighth slot.
Yeah, whoever comes out of that 9-10 is going to beat Minnesota. Whether it's the Pelicans or OKC, they're going to beat Minnesota.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards has not been special since returning from his injury. I don't know if something's still wrong with him or not.
Yeah.
But they got some going on over there too.
Real quick, as far as that, whoever would play for that eighth seed between Chicago and Toronto, or against Atlanta or Miami, I could see some weird way the Bulls pull it together for two games. I think they both would be on the road. So I think, in that aspect, what do you have to lose? Why you like your hair's on fire? I think, like I say, the Bulls are one of them teams. They play to the level of their competition. Hopefully we can get some production out of Levine, DeRozan, Kobe, and they can make it to the playoffs. Although, I think it'll be short lived in maybe 5 games against Milwaukee. But I think
I find it interesting you didn't say Vucevic, and I think to that point is he hasn't been. Yeah, he'll give you 15. But he has not been special, man. He has not been like.
Well, the thing about
when he faced off versus Giannis a couple years ago with Orlando and by himself, it only went 5 or 6. But the fact that they even went 5, it never should have. But Vucevic made those games fun, man. This dude was going at Giannis. He was nobody on Milwaukee could stop this dude. I don't see any of that now. I don't see any of that player today.
I think to that aspect, and we saw it when they played the Lakers, he had like 15 points in the first half. And then he only get 1, 2, 3 more shots the rest of the game. You gotta feed him.
I was just about to say, do you think that's part of the system, or maybe the Bulls kind of holding them up because they don't want to go to big?
It's like a receiver. If you ain't giving him the ball, he's not gonna be that interested in the game.
but he's an all-star caliber player. You gotta, if you're that guy, you gotta demand the ball. Hey, Zach Levine, give me that ball. You ain't never gone to the playoffs by yourself. I have. Give me that ball. Like,
well, I mean,
I'm
you
just
can say
saying,
the
like,
same to DeRozan.
yeah, but DeRozan has been there and done that. I'm saying I give him a little more seniority over Vooch. I at this point, I know Zach's the best natural scorer on that team, but I still give Vooch seniority over him. If I'm Vooch, I'm saying, give me that ball, man. Stop. You 8 for 26. Give me the ball. Stop. Like I just when they're hot, when the Bulls are hot as a team, they're one of the scariest teams in the league.
Yeah, but they can't do it consecutively. They can do it Monday, but not Tuesday. They
Right,
do
and
it
that's
Wednesday,
because they
but
don't
not
have a true
Thursday.
guard. They don't have a true guard
Yeah.
running that team, and so that's why in a one game, I guess in a one game playoff, I just don't give it to them just because of that.
Now,